All right, so this week we are looking at week 13, which is more on triangles. So we did a little bit with triangles last week, focusing on, I think it was mostly Pythagorean theorem. This week it's going to be a little bit different. We're still going to be looking at triangles. The goal is going to be to figure out the length of the sides in each triangle, and I'm going to give you some information to work with to do it. Because we're going to be solving what are called special right triangles, there's only two types of triangles we're going to look at this week, right? And I'll show you what the two are. So then there's the plan for the week, and you got a couple days, Thursday and Friday, to finish up anything you need to if you don't get it done on the day it's listed. All right, so let's look at the packet. So there's two types of triangles we're going to look at this week. The types of triangles that we're going to look at have to do with the size of the angles. Right? Does anybody know what all the angles in a triangle have to add up to? 180. Yep, they all have to add up to 180. So one type of triangle we're going to look at is called the 45-45 triangle. It means it has two angles in the triangle that are 45 degrees. And the other one we're going to look at is called the 30-60-90 right triangle. That means it has a 30 and a 60 in the triangle. They both have a 90. Okay, that's common to both of them. Okay, so let's take a look. See if I can scroll down. Okay, so this is a picture of a 45-45-90 right triangle. Okay, this sheet has some more information on it that yours does not. Okay, so there's a few things that we want to write down. Okay. In a 45-45-90 triangle, and also in a 30-60-90 when we study that one, the longest side in the triangle is the hypotenuse. Okay, so where you guys have a blank line on yours, you want to fill in hypotenuse. And the two shorter sides are the legs. And that's also going to be the same thing in the 30-60-90. Shorter sides are the legs, and the long side is the hypotenuse. What's really going to be important is the stuff over on the right, okay, the diagram, and then where it says definition and equations. We're going to use what's in the box for equations to pretty much do every problem. So on the diagram of the 45-45-90, you guys have three blanks. Okay, for each blank, you want to fill in an X for the one on the left, an X for the one on the bottom, and then an x square root 2 for the hypotenuse. Okay, what that diagram is doing is it's going to help us to solve the triangle. Okay, solve means to figure out the length of all the sides. Okay. With a 45-45-90, there's two different types of problems I can give you. I can either give you this side over here and to ask you to find these two, which are the same. Or I can give you one of these sides, like on the bottom, and then ask you to find these other two, which are different. Okay? This long side and that short side, the two that are highlighted, they are different. Okay. So we'll try each type. Depending on which type I give you, you're going to use one of these two formulas. All right, so the first formula is a formula to find the hypotenuse. And you don't have that written, so you'll have to write that down. It says the hypotenuse is equal to this side times the square root of 2. Okay. So if I was going to have you find the hypotenuse, I would have to give you a number for the leg. Like I could say the leg is 3, right? And then you would fill it into that formula where it says leg. Now, if instead I asked you to find the leg, then I would have to give you something else. Okay, I would give you the hypotenuse. And you would fill it in right there. Okay, so the formula for the leg is the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. So which formula you use just depends on what information I give you. Was there anything? Oh yeah, I think there was one word to write in. So up above, it basically is just writing out what the equation says. So on the blank right there, we want to fill in the word, there it is. leg. Okay, I know it's kind of under the border for the box, but it says leg. Bless you. So there's actually two blanks there on yours. It's kind of hard to see. The top blank is actually square root of, you have the word 2. And then the other blank, which unfortunately is kind of on the border, that says leg. So 2 and leg. Okay, on the left side, just a couple facts about these kinds of triangles. These triangles are called isosceles. Okay, the isosceles means you have a triangle with two sides that are the same length. Okay. So you want to fill in the word isosceles. And I'm not really super concerned about this second fact, but if you want to fill it in, the word is diagonal of a square. Okay, what they're basically saying there is if you take a square and you draw the diagonal, you'll get a triangle just like that. So if you put two of these triangles together, kind of flip it over, you'd have a square. Again, I'm not really that worried about that. Okay. Anything else anybody needs to copy for this first part? All right, so we're going to now fill in the same thing for the 30, 60, 90. Okay, so that's on the back. Okay. These 6 examples, I'm going to do one of the type of problems you're going to have here, but these are the part of the worksheet for the week. Okay, so we'll let you guys do those. Let me just scroll down. Okay, so I'm looking for, there we go. So this is the 30, 60, 90. Okay, the big difference in a 30, 60, 90 is all the sides in the triangle are different. Okay, in the 45, 45, you get 2 that are the same. But in the 30, 60, you don't. All right, so over here, we're using the same words we did before. The long side of a triangle is always called the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always across from this little square right there. That's the 90. Now, because all the sides are different, we don't just call it a leg, a leg and a leg. We call it the short leg and the long leg. And the way you can remember which one is where is which number is bigger, 30 or 60? 60. The one across from the 60 is longer, it's bigger. The one across from the 30 is smaller, shorter. Okay. So the one across from the 30 is always the short leg. Across from the 60 is the long leg. Okay. And just like in a 45, 45, 90, there's a connection between all the sides. And these are what we want to fill in for the blanks. So the one on the left, you're going to put x square root of 3. The hypotenuse, you're going to put in 2x. And the side on the bottom, you're going to put in x. Okay, so one way to kind of explain that simply, what that means is the hypotenuse is always double the short side. So if you know the short side is 5, then the hypotenuse is 10. If the short side is 6, then the hypotenuse is 12. Okay? The hypotenuse is always double the short side. Now, is that true in every single triangle? No. It's just true in this type of triangle, 30, 60, 90. Okay, it's a special connection. All right, so there's a couple blanks in that top box. So the first one says in a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, the hypotenuse is equal to, and that's actually what I was just telling you, 2 times, or double, the short leg. So you want to fill in double, or two, I guess you want to fill in 2 times. And then the word short. And then the last blank, it says the long leg is equal to the square root of, you want to write the number 3. Square root of 3 times the short leg. Okay, but the most important thing is these equations. So depending on what you're trying to figure out and what I give you in the problem, it's going to control which one of these formulas you need to use. If you're trying to find the hypotenuse, one way to do it is to take the short leg and double it. So make sure you fill in 2 times the short leg for that top formula. Okay. Likewise, if I gave you the hypotenuse and I asked you to find the length of the short side, well, the short leg is half the hypotenuse. Okay. So if this side was 20, then that means this side would be 10. Okay. This side on the bottom is half as big as that one on the diagonal. Okay, so the connection between the short side and the hypotenuse, that's pretty nice numbers. One is just double the other. This one's a little messy because it has a square root in it. Okay, that's just the way it is. So if you want to find the long leg, and I tell you the short leg, you fill in the short leg and you multiply it by the square root of 3. Now, a lot of times when we do it, we're not even going to figure out what that is. Like if you had to multiply something by the square root of 3, let's say 2 times the square root of 3, a lot of times we're just going to leave it just like that. We don't even write what that would be as a decimal if we get it up. Just leave it. Okay. And then the last formula, it says the short leg is the long leg divided by the square root of 3. Okay, so you don't have to memorize any of them. As long as you got them written down, just look back at them when you're doing the problems from the week. And the blank you could fill in over here. Again, I don't really care too much about that. It says equilateral. That's the note is not it's not important. At least for what we're doing. Okay. Does everybody have everything they need to copy from that page? Especially the equations. That's important. All right. So let's try. Let's flip over to the last page we're going to look at, which says notes, and then it's got some different examples. All right. So first thing we got to do is identify what type of problem it is. It's either going to have the 30, the 60, and the 90, and we're going to look at that sheet, or it's going to have the 45, 45, and we're going to look at that sheet. Okay, let's start with the one in the upper left. Okay, it's got a 30, and it's got a 60. Okay, so that tells you we want to go back to the sheet that has the 30 and the 60. All right, let's look at what they're telling me. They're giving me that side. So the first thing we want to do is identify what side that is. Okay, we have 3 choices: long leg, short leg, or hypotenuse. Which side is the one that's circled? Yep.
Long leg?
That's the long leg, because it's across from the 60. You can look back at your diagram. Long leg. Okay, so first identify what it is that you know. Now identify what it is they want you to find. Okay, they want that. So now identify that side. Your choices are either short leg or hypotenuse. You've already used long leg. So what's this bottom side? Short leg or hypotenuse? Yep. Short leg. So now I'm going to go back and look at my sheet, and I'm going to see if I can find a formula that tells me how to find the short leg. All right, so let's go back and take a look. All right. It says in a 30, 60, 90, the short leg is the long leg divided by the square root of 3. So the short leg is the long leg divided by square root 3. So that's our formula. We're trying to find the short leg. You're going to fill in that right there. That's the long leg. 9 times the square root of 3. So 9 square root of 3 divided by, and the square root of 3 in the bottom, that's from the formula on the other page. Okay. What happens when you have the same thing in the top and the bottom of a fraction, and it's multiplication like in the top like that? Anyone know what's going to happen there? Like if you had 2 times 3 divided by 3, what would happen right here?
Cancel out.
Yeah, what would cancel?
The 3.
The 3's, because you have the same thing in the top and in the bottom. Okay. What do we have in this one that's the same in the top and the bottom?
Square root of 3.
Square root of 3. Yep. So because that's in the top and that's in the bottom, it cancels out. And what are we left with?
9.
9. That's how you do it. So the length of the short leg is 9. That's all you have to do. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so look at the one right below it, the one that's kind of purplish on my screen. Is this one a 30-60 problem or a 45-45? Yeah, that's a 30-60. Okay, let's start by identifying the side we know, identifying the side we don't know, and then find the formula. Okay, 7. Which side is the 7 in the 30, 60, 90? Long leg, short leg, or hypotenuse? Yep.
Short leg.
That's the short leg. Yep. Okay, so identify the one that you know. Now, identify the one you don't know. The side that's Q. Is that the long leg or the hypotenuse? Yeah?
Long leg.
That's the long leg because it's across from the 60. Okay, across from the 60 is always the long leg. So let's look it up and see if we can find a formula to find the long leg. So let's go back. It says the long leg is the short times the square root of 3. So let's write that down. Long equals short times the square root of 3. Okay. How long, what's the length of the short side in this triangle? Yep.
7 feet.
7 feet. So you take the 7, you fill it in right there. So you get 7 times the square root of 3. We're not even going to do that out. How do I know not to do it out? It says to write your answer in radical form. Okay, radical means you don't write any decimals. You're just going to leave it 7 times the square root of 3. Just like that. Let's try the last one for the 30 and the 60. So in the top one, I had you guys calculate the short leg. In the middle one, I had you calculate the long leg. In the bottom one, well, let's see what they have us find here. Okay. Okay. What side is the 16? Long leg, short leg, or hypotenuse? That's hypotenuse, yep. So that's a little different. They've never given us the hypotenuse before. We've always been dealing with the long and the short. Okay, so now they gave us the hypotenuse. How about the W? Long leg, short leg, or hypotenuse? Yeah?
The long leg.
It's the long leg. So now we've got to see if we can get a formula to find the long leg using the hypotenuse. Well, I don't see that. I see long leg equals short leg times the square root of 3. Okay? But I don't have a formula for the long leg on the left and having the hypotenuse on the other side. So what does that mean? It means I'm going to probably have to find another side first. Okay, I might have to find another side. So let's look at it. This is the short leg. I think we're going to have to figure that out to be able to figure that out. Let's go back and just make sure we didn't miss anything. Again, I don't see anything that says long leg on the left and hypotenuse on the right. It only says short leg. Okay, so now let's see if we can find the short leg. Let's try using this one right here. Short leg is the hypotenuse divided by 2. Okay, you just got that from me. The short leg is the hypotenuse divided by 2. So I'm going to try this one. Is that the answer they want me to get? No, but I have to do that. I have no other way to figure out what they want. Okay, so short leg equals hypotenuse over 2. Okay, how long is the hypotenuse in this problem?
16 meters.
16, yep. And what does 16 divided by 2 give me? 8. Good. Okay, now, is that the answer they want? No. But now I know the short leg, and I needed that to do the formula for the long leg. Okay. The long leg is the short leg times the square root of 3. Let's put that right there. Long leg equals the short leg times the square root of 3. And what did we just get for the short leg? 8. Yep. So we're going to take 8. We're going to fill it in for short, and then we're just going to leave it just like that. So there are some problems where you may not be able to find the side they want you to find right away. You might have to find another side first, and then you can find the side they want. So that's kind of annoying because then you got to do 2 things. But the 30, 60, 90, these are the harder ones because you have 3 sides that are all different. In the 45, 45, 90, a little bit easier because you have 2 sides that are the same and only 1 side different. Okay, so there's not as many formulas. All right, so let's think about the 45, 45, 90. There is no long leg and short leg. It's just a leg and a hypotenuse. That's it. So leg, hypotenuse. Let's look at this side right here. 5 square root of 2. Is that side the leg or is that side the hypotenuse? That's the hypotenuse, yep. Which means the side they want me to find is the leg, yep. So let's look up the formula and see if there's a formula to calculate the leg when you know the hypotenuse. Yes, there is. The leg is the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. So the leg is the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. The hypotenuse is 5 square roots of 2. So I filled that in the top. And what's going to cancel out there because it's the same in the top and bottom? Square root of 2. Which means the length of the leg is how much? 5. Yep. So that's the type where you have to find the leg. And the last type, okay, is where you have to find the hypotenuse. What side is the 2 right there? Is that the leg or the hypotenuse? Yeah, that's the leg. What side is the U? That's the hypotenuse. So we're going to look up our formula. It says the hypotenuse equals the leg times the square root of 2. Okay. How long is my leg in that triangle? Yep, I think, yeah, my leg is 2. So fill in 2. and then write it down exactly like it would be if you just change length to 2. And that's it. So a lot of the problems really, you just have to look up the formula and fill in the number, and that's it. Okay, so that's an example of the types of problems you're going to have on the worksheet and in the MCAS and the IXL. That covers every type of problem you need to do this week.